Coming up on TechZilla, Panasonic's first LED LCD. Is this another VT25? Veebeam, HBO without cable, Defrag free. Defrag RSS for Alaska. The new releases for the week of December 14th, 2010, and viewer questions till your eyes bleed. So throw a log on the fire and start roasting those chestnuts, because TechZilla starts now. This episode of TechZilla is made possible by Belkin. Unleash your network. The Boxy Box by D-Link and Squarespace. I'm Patrick Norton.
Hey, and I'm Robert Heron.
Welcome to TechZilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Hey, whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the best type of wood for a Yule log, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down somebody who does. Hey, everybody, congratulations to Team TechZilla, everybody who donated to Charity Water. Awesome news. We raised over $5,000. That means we built a well. We have provided a village with clean water. And of course, we're going to say this, we're going to keep running the campaign, the Charity Water thing is going to keep going for a while. If you got $1, you can help us band together to build another well. Go to revision3.com/charitywater. Help out. We would love to bring water to people in need all over the world. News, or at least the news we're obsessing about when we taped this last week. It was actually a crazy week, especially if you were Google.
Okay.
Right?
The book release.
Not crazy like, hey, we designed a car that drives itself. We've been driving it in your neighborhood, Patrick Norton.
I want that car.
Yeah, we all want that car around here.
Drive me home.
Deal with 880.
I'm going to crawl in the back and take a
parking
nap.
lot. Anyhow, and Le Web in Paris, which is where Veronica's been the past week doing her thing. Marissa Meyer, she's basically in charge of consumer products at Google. She announced that the next big thing at Google for consumer products is contextual discovery. In Meyer's word, take a user's location as a piece of context for finding out what they want without them actually searching for anything. TechCrunch quoted Meyer as saying the idea is to push information to people, and all I can think of is the Minority Report scene where it like scans Tom Cruise's eye and suddenly it's like, Robert, wouldn't you like a nice bottle of tequila? How about some new pants? As he's trying to walk down the hallway and like ads are assaulting him. Yeah.
Tequila? Well, can't have enough tequila.
It was really weird. Meyer basically said, we're trying to build a virtual mirror of the world at all times, which makes IPv6's number of IP address make a lot more sense, and it'll give you something to do while sitting in your Google-powered car that drives itself. I'm kind of hoping Veronica caught the speech and can give us some more insight, but basically, Marissa Meyer wants Google everywhere and prepared to feed you stuff before you're ready for it.
Awesome. Meanwhile, here in San Francisco, Google announced updates to the Chrome browser and the Chrome laptop, aka the CR48, that will be used by beta testers to work out the kinks in the Chrome OS, basically an OS built and optimized for the web. Essentially, it's an OS that's all browser. Google is looking to make computers faster, much simpler, and fundamentally more secure.
Their quote, not ours.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thought. Google's handing out 60,000 of the notebooks to beta testers that applied on the Chrome notebook website. End users will be able to buy the notebook from Acer and Samsung in early 2011.
Yeah, or at least Chrome OS powered notebooks. I'm hoping they bring Chrome OS so I can sort of use it to revive some of my older netbooks that I'm not using so much.
Cool.
It's a really interesting concept. We need to actually get a beta version of the Chrome OS running in here to show everybody.
I fired up Ubuntu on some old hardware yesterday.
Oh, Ubuntu, I love
good.
Ubuntu. If you're thinking about Linux, try Ubuntu or Puppy Linux. You'll thank us. Google's bringing Google Instant Search to the browser, by the way, the Chrome browser, along with a new version of V8, the JavaScript engine in Chrome. They're claiming burlier, poorly written, hefty, drag-ass JavaScript apps will run, quote, twice as fast, unquote. That'll be nice for poorly encoded ads and websites that are encrusted in ads and bad code. I'm still on the fence on the new Chrome web store, though I've got friends that are already happily running the TweetDeck app in Chrome. There's a whole bunch of apps up there. Try to avoid the Tiger Woods golf game until I figure out a way to actually play a game inside of it without paying money. I may just be stupid. Actually, there is a way, but we'll talk about that later.
Good.
Check it out yourself, chrome.google.com to go to the web store.
Awesome. Hey, and in other news, Google Maps is bringing more offline support to cell phones, as in maps in your phone, so you aren't screwed by bad reception. I've been doing that for a while, but you kind of had to hack with their back end, and they didn't appreciate it when you just scraped their website. Anyway, it's a different story.
They're pre-scraping for you. It's more sanitary that way.
Pre-scraping always works out. Hey, the Kindle is also on the web, at least in beta at Amazon.com/Kindle for the web. And Comcast says they have no plans for per usage, i.e. metered pricing, in the wake of the FCC's recent approval of metered internet. Thank goodness.
If you're thinking about buying an iPad, buy it somewhere with a really good return policy like Costco if they actually sell them there, which they don't, since the rumors are flowing that the iPad 2 will be announced in January and ship February 11th, at least according to Digitimes.com, who has sources at Foxconn. I should also point out that for electronics, the return time at Costco is 90 days. Digital cameras, phones, iPods, all that stuff. Everything else, like if you buy lawn darts there, you got, the rest of your life to return them. Everything else, everything consumer electronics, 90 days. And I gotta say, I misread the Consumer Reports annual mobile cell service ratings. AT&T is officially the worst carrier in the United States, suffering a significant drop in overall satisfaction from last year. Though over half of those responding to this survey were using some kind of iPhone, which many experts have pointed out ain't the best phone, as in the phone parts of the iPhone kind of suck compared to the rest of the phone. Consumer Reports electronics blog said U.S. Cellular, which serves 26 states, beat out Verizon as the top-rated provider in the country, and that Sprint has pulled even with Verizon in customer satisfaction. Verizon, of course, having been top of the list since 2003. Consumer Reports took great pains to note that Sprint has made a major turnaround on customer satisfaction.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
More choices. Awesome.
Yeah, I like more choices.
That story, though, about AT&T and dropped calls and iPhones and whatnot, that was just, you just read my existence. I love the iPhone. It's just not a very good phone here in the Bay Area. Anyway.
Oh, and if you drop your iPhone in a lake or a river or a toxic trench that masquerades as an estuary here in the Bay Area, Robert would like you to know something.
You can have that phone replaced at an Apple store for only $200. Now, it has to be in one piece. If it's a shattered screen, no dice. If it's shattered into multiple pieces, no dice. But if it's just water destroyed, you can take that to an Apple store and they'll swap it out for another one.
What does AT&T tell you if you go into their store?
They told me I had to buy a brand new phone at full price, which I did, and I was able to get that undone. And you know what? I kid you not. We were talking about this earlier in the week.
Right.
Yesterday, they called me up AT&T calls me out of the blue and says, you know what, we're just going to drop your bill next month for no particular reason. They just said, you know what, we're sorry for, I think they're just trying to retain me as a customer because I'm setting sail here soon.
You smell the Verizon iPhone.
I do. Hey, I think we're doing a little email. Maybe time?
Definitely a question.
Somebody named Robert, gotta love that name, right?
Not you.
Aw.
Another Robert.
I know. It's a great name. Hey, he says, hi all. In all the talk about set-top boxes, I've yet to hear any discussion of Veebeam. Could you give us your impressions or do a review? Signed, Robert. Well, sure we can, Robert. The Veebeam HD is a $140 wireless HDMI cable, kind of like, well, it's not a set-top box, although Veebeam founders played a lot of buzzword bingo.
I mean, when they launched a demo in 2010, they made it really hard to sound like this was the perfect tool to bring internet content to every HDTV.
It's just a dongle, it's a USB dongle for your notebook and a big fat receiver for your HDTV that promises to stream 1080 video from your notebook to the big screen, which... Yeah. For that part, okay.
Yeah, Veebeam, it's the latest product we've seen that uses DisplayLink's technology. It pushes video through a USB adapter to a computer monitor or television. It's basically, if you don't have a compatible adapter on your notebook and you need a second monitor, you use a DisplayLink dongle. It pushes video out to your notebook. The idea is basically you plug a USB stick in your notebook, the Veebeam receiver goes on your HDTV, and you get your web video on. At least if you've got a 2.2 gigahertz Core 2 Duo notebook or faster. Otherwise, you don't have enough power to run this. It's no good for gaming. Everybody I've seen who's tested it, GadgetReview.com, EverythingUSB.com, we got links in the show notes. They're talking about like 3-second delays between starting a video and it showing up on the TV. If you mirror displays, you're looking at as much as 30% of your CPU feeding the video beam. You can basically just stream the video content in native res, which is a much better idea. You'll lower your CPU usage, and you'll get content at its native resolution if you got like 720, 1080p content.
Maybe a good, quick, and dirty way to connect up for PowerPoint presentations? Maybe? I'd be curious to see how the compression works with static.
It's a little big. I mean, it's basically, it's DisplayLink plus wireless USB And reviewers are basically calling it line of sight, as in if somebody walks between the USB dongle and the television, the screen will break up or disappear completely. Yeah, $140 for the HD version of the Veebeam. That's a Roku, but it's more than a Roku. It's more than an Apple TV. It's 3/4 of a boxy box. I just get a wireless keyboard and an HDMI cable to go from the DVI on my notebook to my HDTV, and use just a small, tiny remote control. Because this thing's designed.
You lack audio on that, but still.
Well, that's true.
If you need audio.
Yeah, that's a good point.
$140 buys a lot of HDMI cable.
HDMI cable and an audio cable and a wireless keyboard. I'm not so into the Veebeam.
Gotcha.
Just saying. Should we thank one of our sponsors?
Please.
Coming up, we're going to get our HD Nation on. Right now, though, I want to thank one of our sponsors, Belkin. Belkin's Play N600 wireless router has the power to stream HD video seamlessly to all your devices anywhere in your home. The Play N600 does more than connect your devices, it makes them better. Game systems turn into media players, printers print without wires, hard drives become wireless servers. It even finishes downloading large files to a hard drive at home after you shut down your computer or taken it with you. Find out more at belkin.com/unleash. It's time to get our HD Nation on. Mr. Heron pushed the glorious Samsung 8000 review out another week to fit in an interesting sub-$1,000 42-inch LED flat panel. Panasonic's first LED LCD. What's the word on the Panasonic TCL42D2, Robert?
Hey, so yes, that is this TV right here. 42-inch screen and 120 hertz refresh rate, which is kind of nice. Price online is about $900. It is 1080p resolution. I just try not to bother with anything less anymore. Interesting features right off the bat, I would say that would be, it comes with an iPod dock or /iPhone. Won't work with the iPad, unfortunately. It's a little too small for that, but
get your hacksaw.
There you go. And hence, we have the interface right here. That part works great, as expected. You can basically surf through the content on your mobile device and bring it back, including the videos, pictures, music, all that good stuff. I would also say that, like every other Panasonic TV, they include an SD card reader.
Keeping my Monsters Inc. on.
There we go. Full screen action right there.
From my cell phone.
Nice. Your personal electronics being hooked up. That too, swivel-based stand, which is kind of nice. You can remove that, of course, like all TVs. I mentioned some energy efficient. Well, it's LED-based, so we have an edge-lit system, so that makes it pretty thin in the middle, although at the bottom where the speakers fire out of, it gets a little thicker in the back. 3 HDMI inputs, as well as one component video input. And the edge-lit LED design is incredibly energy efficient, actually. It never went above 120 watts, and that's when I forced it into its vivid mode to make it as bright as possible. In its standard preset, right out of the box, if you set it up for a home mode, it never went above 50 watts. And I was pretty impressed by that. That's really energy efficient.
That's like I'm solar powered and living off of batteries efficient.
That is the promise, basically, of LED designs like this. When you can do it just with the edge lit designs, you can really get good efficiency, and that's what they're going for here. Picture controls. I will say that it took me a minute to find the overscan controls to turn that off, but they are buried in there a little bit. For video processing, this TV handled 1080i content very well. That's important for cable and satellite set-top boxes because that's a popular format that you'll have delivered to you. By default, we were talking about this is a 120 hertz panel, in a sense that beloved interpolation, that smoothing effect that you so love, I know. Just kidding. That is enabled by default, and there is actually a control in there to specifically turn that off or to turn down how much interpolation takes place. But I found just turning it off was a good place to go, and it made everything look right.
I think it's the first HDTV you've looked at in several months that didn't actually already have 3D built into it, correct?
Probably the last couple, definitely. So this is definitely not a 3D set, 2D. Also for on color performance, I will say its ability to mix red, blue, and green, because that's what the pixels are. The tiny little subpixels are red, blue, and green. When you mix those together, you get white, and so it's grayscale. Having a consistent grayscale, regardless if it's close to black or peak white, it should be the same color. Because if you can achieve the same color across all the shades of gray, you get a more natural picture out of it, and it's more accurate, and it's less likely to influence the other colors that could be produced by the TV itself. In this case, the TV was exceptionally linear in terms of its tracking as far as measuring red to black, or white to black. However, it provides no control for controlling the levels of red, blue, and green, so when I wanted to adjust that to that D65 color space, that neutral gray, I'm just disappointed that those controls weren't there. Now, its cinema picture preset measured a little warm, which means it's a little too red for me. The color gamut measurements, basically the coverage of HD color space, how well can it represent the colors within there? Excellent, actually. It was pretty good. Although some of the secondary colors, like cyan, magenta, and yellow, they were slightly off, something that a color management system would correct if the TV actually provided one. I have to say, though, the bottom line, it's efficient, it's inexpensive for a 42-inch 1080p TV. However, for the same online price, I found a 47-inch LG, their LD520 model. It's a larger screen, 1080p 120 hertz, although it's not LED lit. And it includes superior picture controls, like I said, for about the same amount of money. Or if you just have to have that LED edge-lit system, LG has a LE5400 series. It's 42-inch, 120 hertz, and it features streaming internet multimedia apps built into the TV for essentially the same online price. So and you still get better picture controls.
This is not basically no Netflix, no Amazon Video On Demand, no Vudu.
No, your pod device that connects to it.
You have a pod device.
Or an SD card slot for pictures. And yeah, that's about it.
Do you think the color controls and the tint might actually be updated in the firmware, or do you expect that to just... Because it is bizarre. It's like I can go more green, I can go more red.
The basic front controls are great. It's for controlling something like white balance. Like if you really wanted to have this TV calibrated, the minor quirks I found with its color setup could have been corrected had the controls been provided, and those controls may exist within hidden service menus built into the TV. But nowadays, I don't want to dig into the service menus anymore. And for the most part, DIYers shouldn't be either. And it'd be nice just to have the built right into the controls in the user accessible menus.
Got it.
And other TVs are providing that nowadays, in addition to some other features as well that for the same money. So that makes it a little less tempting to me.
So 50 watts running that seems significantly lower than anything we've talked about in a while.
True, but if you really want to pump up the light output on this, it'll spike up a little bit higher. You get into that 100 plus range if you really start pushing the TV hard. Like you just go in and turn the backlight to 100%, and you turn the contrast up to 100%. Boom, you'll get closer to that.
What's a typical LCD flat panel at this point? Like 100, 200 watts?
If it's putting out a lot of light, you can get a lot of light out of a TV, an LCD TV nowadays at that wattage range. And you compare that to say a 50-inch plasma screen running in vivid mode, 300 to 500 watts, and it's strictly for light output.
You shouldn't be running in vivid mode though. That's like you suntan yourself on the couch
that
mode.
And you're sacrificing picture quality. But if you're in a bright room, you know what? You've already have a few extra problems to deal with. So maybe the picture brightness is not the most critical thing. And
buy curtains, turn the brightness down.
Yeah, switch it into movie or cinema mode, or get that TV calibrated. But I like this, and I can't wait to see at CES what their next level of LCD technology will be, because this is still kind of new in my mind, at least as far as Panasonic goes. They're known for plasma displays, world-class plasma displays. And
VT25.
Yeah, and now we're seeing some of their flat panel designs in something else besides plasma, namely LCD.
It's going to be fun to watch. We've got a quick viewer question for you. Bill says, hey Techzilla, I do not have cable TV, nor do I want cable TV, but I really want to see HBO's The Game of Thrones when it airs. Do you think of any legitimate way to make this happen? HBO has a new online HBO Go service, but that only works if you subscribe to HBO through a cable or satellite provider. I would gladly pay $10 or more a month to get just HBO, but that is obviously not an option through cable providers. Any idea? So far, my best plan is to get the $15 a month basic cable through Comcast with an additional $10 a month for HBO. A decent deal, yes, but I won't be watching any of that basic cable, writes Bill. I'm actually shocked you can get HBO with a $25 a month package. First of all, cable in San Francisco is stupid expensive. Practically a car payment. It just feels that way. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I remember...
Especially if you sign up for the premium channel packages, too. It starts to add up. Or, thank goodness you don't have an NFL addiction and you have to have every game in the country in HD.
Yeah, that's definitely not a problem for
throwing
me.
out $100 bills every month.
Hey, look, do you have a friend with HBO? Is there a local bar where you can pay the bartender to put on the show you want to watch?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you definitely cable. Your simplest option is to call up Comcast. Take the deal. Hope make sure you're not signing up for like a service contract of 12 or 24 months where if you cut it off early they're going to eat your face by charging you a bunch of money. You can wait for the DVD or Blu-ray to come out. You can wait for HBO to make Go open to anybody, which they have been making noises recently saying we might consider making our content available online, not through cable providers.
I'm a fan for TV series. If it's episodic, I
Right.
prefer to wait for at least a season to be done and then be able to sit down and watch the entire season start to finish in like a weekend or something. Just
Well,
to plow through it.
Yeah, I mean, and
Storyline fresh in the head, you don't have to
no
wait for
commercials.
Yes, and usually better quality.
And you could stay up all night and get completely insane watching 4 seasons of Buffy in 48 hours because you and your family have nothing better to do.
Do
that
nothing but
weekend.
dream about that for weeks.
Yeah, but in terms of legitimate options, that's pretty much it. Buy cable, go to a friend's house or someplace where they'll let you, maybe they have, cable in the local county jail. That's a joke.
Of course they have
Wait for the
cable in the
Blu-ray or
local-
DVD or Netflix. Netflix availability is really tough because a lot of stuff HBO's done has not been available on Netflix or Amazon Video On Demand or anywhere else.
I wonder if you could make a deal with a friend who has the cable service already but isn't using the Go part of it
Right.
and just say, you know what, can you give me your login account information and I'll pay you. I don't know if that's legit or
I'm
not.
sure it's not legit, but it is certainly
Probably
an
breaks the
option.
terms of service, but it's worth asking.
Let us move on to the Blu-ray releases.
Let's do it. Hey, it's time for the new Blu-ray releases for the week of December 14th, 2010. First up, the A-Team. We're talking about the 2010 film adaptation here, inspired by the 80s TV series that ran for 5 seasons. The Blu-ray has been available in the UK and Australia for a while, and now we're finally seeing a US release. Directed by Joe Carnahan from Smoking Aces, and starring Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, and MMA fighter Quentin Rampage Jackson as B.A. Baracus, this film follows a team of ex-Army Special Forces personnel who have been accused of crimes they didn't commit. Extras on this disc include never-before-seen deleted scenes, a gag reel, an A-Team theme mashup montage, a making-of featurette, a special effects featurette, an interactive behind-the-scenes featurette with the director, and more. Next up, McMax. From the director of The City of Lost Children and Amelie comes this absurd French film whose full title translates to Non-Stop Shenanigans. It tells the story of a homeless man named Basil who is taken in by a crew of junkyard dealers and his quest for revenge. This 2009 film was released on Blu-ray in the UK back in June, but now the folks in the USA can get their hands on a copy. But it'll be worth the wait because this version has more extras added on. While the UK version only had a 9-minute Q&A from the director and a director's commentary, the US release includes that Q&A, the commentary, a making of, and a featurette titled Animations, Absurd Deaths that shows how the animated intervals in the film were conceived and rendered. Also released this week, Dear Mr. Gacy. It's based on a true story adapted from the memoirs of a college student who developed a pen pal relationship with several serial killers on death row, the most significant being John Wayne Gacy. Starring William Forsythe, this thriller follows the game of cat and mouse that the two play as Gacy gets deeper and deeper into the student's head. The only extras on this disc include a single 22-minute featurette titled The Gacy Files, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which looks into the making of the film based on the facts of the case, featuring interviews with cast and crew and friends of John Wayne Gacy. The only extra on this disc is a single 22-minute featurette titled The Gacy Files, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which looks into the making of the film based on the facts of the case, featuring interviews with the cast and crew and friends of John Wayne Gacy. Other releases include 24, Season 8, 1926's The Black Pirate, Cyrus, Despicable Me in 3D, Dragon Ball Z, Kai Part 3, Hard Boiled, Harsh Times, Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, Mother and Child, Nanny McPhee Returns, The Other Guys 3-disc combo, The Other Guys Single Disc Edition, 1969's True Grit, Vampire Circus, WWE SummerSlam 2010, and released on Friday, December 17th, 2010, Legends of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, Legends of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole 3D, and The Town. It's also worth noting that the Blu-ray release of MotoGP 2010 official review is being released today in the UK as a Region 2 locked disc. But unfortunately, the US only gets the DVD release. A big boo to that one. Hey, it's time to thank one of our sponsors, the Boxy Box by D-Link. We get it. You want internet freedom on your TV, but you want it to be the stuff you actually want to watch in HD, and you want to enjoy it from the comfort of your couch. We're all over it. Introducing the Boxy Box by D-Link. Click, follow, watch. You are now in full command of your TV for the first time. No rules, no contracts. Thousands of shows are available for free, on demand, from your favorite networks, ready to watch anytime. They've got movies too. Enjoy free movies from the web and watch new releases in stunning HD from premium movie services. Got your own stuff on your PC? With the Boxy Box, you can access videos, songs, or pictures from your computer or home network. And it's all in the best resolution available. Experience the thrill of 1080p. That's more than twice the resolution of 720p. So take command of your TV with the Boxy Box from D-Link. Hey, it's time for a speed round of questions. Mark in Hazleton, Pennsylvania writes in, I need a powerful laptop strong enough to handle Adobe Photoshop. Now, I know that having Apple products are best for Adobe products, but I'm on a shoestring budget and Apple products seem to be pricier than personal computers. I already have a mini laptop and I did try running Photoshop CS3 and it ran a bit too slow for my taste. What should I do? Signed, Mark from Hazleton, PA. Well, Photoshop should run just fine on Windows or Mac computers, though traditionally.
Yeah, the art director type geniuses down the hallway are always running Photoshop on the Macs and have been since I was like 12 or 15. Well, I guess Photoshop's not that old. Look, unless you need to run it on the road, build or buy a Windows desktop and run Photoshop on Windows 7. Cue floods of email from OS 10 users. Hey, the truth is I know a lot more people who run Photoshop on OS 10, but most of the people I know who run Photoshop on OS 10 run Photoshop because they're art directors or web designers and they live on OS 10.
Totally. The only thing I might splurge on for the notebook would be just to stuff it put as much RAM into that thing as you can, because the photo manipulation will definitely benefit from that particular upgrade.
Yeah, but you can happily run it on a Windows machine. Trust us.
Yeah.
And in terms of the Mac hardware, I mean, Mac notebooks especially, the Macintosh, the full-size desktop, the Mac Pro desktops are just ridiculously overpriced for what you get.
They are pretty though, and they look good.
They look good, but like you know what I mean.
But you pay for it.
You're paying for it. The MacBook Pros, you are paying more for that because you're getting this beautiful chiseled out of aluminum, nibbled by you're basically paying for this amazing aluminum case and the design. If you want OS 10, keep an eye out for a Core 2 Duo powered iMac refurbished from the Apple Store. You can get some great deals. That'll help out a lot if you want to have the OS 10 experience. Justin's got a good question. He says, can you put a partition on a hardware RAID setup? If so, what issues would it cause? Justin, well, your OS thinks the RAID's a drive, dude. Partition away. I tend to avoid partitioning RAID. I tend to avoid RAID 0 or 1 on a desktop, or 5 for that matter. I tend to avoid any kind of RAID that is enabled in the hardware in my motherboard, because if the hardware irks, then I'm going to lose all my data on a RAID 0 or a RAID 1, and I'm going to lose all my data on a RAID 5 unless I can find the exact same RAID controller to kind of access the drive again.
Back up all of your data.
Yes, back up your data, partition away, have fun.
I'm down with that. Hey, Andrew writes in, one of your cameras looks busted. The camera that points at Veronica or me, that makes them look like they both have liver damage. Signed, Andrew.
Veronica / the guy with the geps, which we understand thanks to the miracle that is UrbanDictionary.com, is slang for glasses.
Ah, excellent. Yes, I am the
glasses-enabled person, maybe?
Yeah, we had a bad sensor in one of our studio cameras, actually. The Yellow Halo was a chromatic aberration, and many of you wrote in with the exact diagnosis of that camera. We apologize, and we do thank you for letting us know.
Hopefully we got the sensor refixed.
There's some crack engineers around here.
Amazing what Josh can do with crazy glue. Carlos writes in from Green Valley, Arizona. Recently, Robert said, do not defrag on NTFS, which is the basically formatted for hard drives of choice in Windows. I was wondering if you guys could elaborate on that some. Also, is it just NTFS specifically, or also FAT and FAT32 as well? Thanks, guys. Love the show. Carlos in Green Valley, Arizona.
I most likely misspoke on that one, and I really should rewatch that episode. If I said NTFS never fragments, I'm completely wrong on that. Defragmentation
is good.
Well, it happens.
Yeah. Well, fragmenting happens, right? Fragmenting basically means your data gets spread all over your drive. So to open up that gigantic file you just downloaded, it's got to go to here on the drive, and here on the drive,
you don't have
here
a
on the drive.
Contiguous
where I can just
stream of files.
Rip the zeros and ones
placed
off.
in different places, and occasionally, and this happens with NTFS as well. Although it doesn't happen as much as it did back in the day with FAT and FAT32, but there's still a defragger built into Windows for that very reason.
Sucks.
Or great third-party tools like Diskkeeper. Or did somebody say free? Yeah.
Smart Defrag.
Really? Is that the tool?
Yeah, Smart Defrag's free. It's a much faster tool than the one built into Windows. Diskkeeper is obscenely fast. You can set it. Defragmenting your hard drive can be like a free speed boost. I've seen as little as 5%, 3%. In theory, like 10% is kind of like 10% is horribly defragged. I've seen as little as 5% before and after defragging make a noticeable performance improvement.
In Windows 7, if you're going to do it, I notice it can take a long time if you're going to force it to happen. So I say just let that go at night when you're not around the computer.
Defrag. Or schedule it with Diskkeeper or something like that.
Nice.
Yes.
Gotta love that.
Yes, Diskkeeper's an awesome.
But man, I should never open my mouth about file systems. Because then I loaded up Ubuntu we were just talking about.
Right.
Apparently, its a file system doesn't defrag. It's very, very good about not.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that either. It probably does somewhere internally, but not in a
Comparatively
noticeable way that
speaking.
requires defragmentation. So
Yeah, well, don't even get me started. Next, we'll talk about.
I'll hail Ubuntu.
Let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors. Squarespace.com, people. Squarespace, it's hosting, it's a tool for building websites. It is a great way for anybody that wants to build a blog, a personal portfolio, any kind of website, to build it and make it look amazing without spending a lot of money or needing to know how to code. It doesn't matter what kind of coding experience you have, Squarespace can give you tools to create a high-end, complex website that is yours, that looks amazing, it doesn't cost you a fortune. And if you got a weird question at 4 in the morning, not a problem, because Squarespace offers every single user 24/7 support. Now, if you haven't seen it, Squarespace's iPhone app, pretty slick. They just added some new features like full HTML blog editing on the go, comment moderation. You can get push notifications, so your phone can howl at you every time you get a comment, so then you can go in and mark existing comments as spam or reply to the comments, and quite a bit more, actually, all from inside your iPhone. Many of the internet's most highly trafficked web pages are powered by Squarespace, and many of the personal pages of Revision 3's hosts and personalities live on Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com to learn more, and if you decide to move your site to Squarespace, do yourself a favor and use the code TechZilla when you check out. You'll earn 10% off the lifetime of your order, and you'll help keep TechZilla on the air. Here's a quick question from Aaron, who writes in, "Hello, TechZilla." He says, "I'm building a new computer in 17 days, Christmas, and I want to know did I just do jazz hands? And want to know, speaking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and want to know a free, reliable drive image program for Windows 7. Do you have any recommendations?" Aaron, we do. Gparted.
Yeah, for the win, baby.
Yeah.
In addition to being able to manipulate your partitions, it can also do a nice dump of that whole partition to a file.
Yeah, if you don't want to use Gparted, Macrium Reflect, it's more straightforward, although it's not quite as flexible, but the free version works exceedingly well. Super Duper is a great one for OS 10, so we don't, miss the OS 10 fans. And Gparted will work on Linux too, won't it?
It should work with any file system, and since it's a boot system, you're kind of ignoring the operating system itself, and it's the laundry list of file systems it's compatible with was pretty extensive.
Boot the Gparted disk, and it lives in the memory, and then does operations.
I used to use Norton Ghost back in the day, and that was always fun. But man, you got to pay for that action.
Yeah.
So,
if you want to pay money, go to Norton. James emails in. He says, "I live in Alaska. Being connected to the internet sometimes doesn't happen, or it's just too much trouble to make happen. I find myself planning ahead, downloading media content to save for those disconnected periods. Someone said to me the other day I should set up RSS feeds for all my favorite stuff so I don't waste time searching for it manually. Sadly, I have never really understood what RSS is. Could you explain to us newbies what it is and how it works? How do we set them up, and what is the best way to manage them for a fast packing for the next road trip? Can you help me? James." James, we can help you.
Really simple syndication.
Yeah.
That's what RSS stands for. And it's an XML script, but it's a page of text. And that gets fed to whatever program you want to use to read that text, and it parses that out. And in that text, it contains basically links to that content you were looking for. So you take somebody's RSS link, add that to your RSS program, and then whatever feed they're providing on that text document I just explained, that will be delivered to your aggregator or the program, and then you can watch it at your convenience, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like the internet's version of having a magazine or newspaper subscription. You have a tool, your RSS reader, and you, the end user. All you need to do is you basically pick some kind of a tool. There's one built into Gmail if you're a Gmail user, and you subscribe to RSS feeds. You can use a standalone application. I really actually like the way they built it into web browsers now. All you need to do is go to a website that uses RSS. You look for this little symbol that you see on the screen right now, the sort of orange, white, when you throw a pebble in a pool and the ripples go out? Ripples, the little orange thing with the ripples on it. And basically locate their RSS feed link. Sometimes actually if you just drop the web page into your RSS tool, it'll actually tell you what RSS feeds are available for that page. It's usually RSS or subscribe.
Google Reader is one of the popular ones out there. I mean, that's a big one, but there's tens of thousands of them out there. So pick one you like and stick with it. I think you can even add those things in if you're an Apple user, of course, iTunes or Windows. Well,
there's kind of different variations of it because there's RSS. I'm looking for text mostly sites, so there's RSS. There's RSS subscriptions for example, Tekzilla. And there's RSS subscriptions for different forms of Tekzilla. Case in point, we get a lot of emails, why can't I subscribe to just the daily videos only? Just go to revision3.com/Tekzilla, look for the subscribe thing, and we actually have, you can download the weekly, the daily, or both in pretty much every format we make available. So all that's powered by RSS feeds.
Now for web articles though, I wonder if there's a way to then pull the entire article and save that, or rather than just say, sometimes you only are fed like the initial blurb of an article too. So that's something I don't know off the top of my head. But the way I use it is just to subscribe to every one of my favorite websites, and then I can go into one interface and just go click, click, click through all the articles, hear all the new articles from all of your favorite websites. What do you want to read, or what do you want to look at, and then go from there.
It's an interesting thought. So actually, if you have any suggestions for managing your RSS feeds for the times you are far, far away from the internet, bring them to us. We'll send them to our boy in Alaska and hopefully make everyone a little happier this long, cold winter.
Anyone still doing offline viewing? Does that still work?
Yes, mostly
Okay.
in airplanes.
Ah.
For everybody watching, we live in your questions, so email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it, but we need your emails to guide us. Don't be shy, send them in to Tekzilla@revision3.com.
Hey, even better, send us a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on the show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us the link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/Tekzilla. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Robert Heron.
Till next time, you've been watching Tekzilla. Patrick Norton from Tekzilla here. Normally, I talk about tech. Today, I'm talking charity, bringing water to people in need, along with your chance to drive this awesome 2012 Ford Focus before anybody else in the world, as in driving the snot out of it on the test tracks of the National Institute of Aerospace Technology in Madrid, Spain, and sending me along with you to make sure this 200 horsepower direct injected corner carving beastie gets a serious workout. Let me explain. All of us here at Revision 3 have partnered with Charity Water this season. For every $5,000 we can raise, a village gets a well. That means clean water for a generation or more. Seriously, you can donate, even $1 will help, at revision3.com/charitywater. Now Ford's getting ready to release this 2012 Focus in early 2011. Don't ask me why 2012 equals 2011. Ask me how the built-in torque vectoring and advanced track stability control keep this puppy sticky through the turns, or how awesome the My Ford Touch and voice-activated sync work with my phone, or how frickin' epic the parking technology package is. It parallel parks for you. You should be excited about your chance to drive the 2012 Ford Focus before it goes on sale. Ford's taking a whole crew of people just like you to the INTA testing grounds in Madrid, Spain for the Ford Focus Global Test Drive. Want to go? Create a video and submit it to facebook.com/FordFocus. Want me to go with you? Please take a moment to vote for this video on revision3.com/FordFocus. If enough folks vote, I might get to join you in Madrid, and Ford will donate $10,000 to Charity Water in Tekzilla's name. That's clean water for 2 villages, people. And wait, hold on. Revision 3 is going to match that 10 grand, so that's clean water for 4 villages. Sweet, huh? Please vote for me at revision3.com/FordFocus and enter for your chance to win and go to Madrid, Spain and drive the 2012 Ford Focus at facebook.com/FordFocus.
Hey, whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, I don't know where my head just went. I'm sorry.
The Play N600 does more than connect your devices in 3, 2.
La 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 la.
Or as the news lady said today, or the traffic reporter was like, there are more spinouts than we can report. So I'm just going to tell you a couple of the really bad ones. And released on Friday, December 17, 2010, Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, Oh, Gauli? Gahul. Released on Friday, December... and released on Friday, December 17th, 2010, Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Gahul. 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 I can do this. Gahul. That's just the delete key. That's what the delete key is for. That and hiding evidence and thermite. Thermite's good.
Thermite.
Thermite strapped to the hard drive. Throw it off my deck. Let it burn a crater into the ground.
James emailed in. He says, I live in Alaska and frequently find that being connected to the internet is... In 3, 2. James emailed in. He says, I live in Alaska and being connected to the internet can be... Boy, that's a sentence. In 3, 2. James emailed in. He says, I live in Alaska. Sometimes the internet is not available or just too much trouble to make happen. I find myself learning to... In 3.
I think I should just start making margaritas right here.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to see if our website was still down.